Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Now, TNT, and by extension the Caribbean, has been moving rapidly into digital transformation. At the very foundation of this is digital identity. How do we identify ourselves online? Today, I have with me iProve President, Mr. Joe Palmer, as well as the founder and CEO of Ignition Innovation, Mr. Justin Lett, joining us to chat a little bit about online security, about digital security and digital identity. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, recently, we've seen situations where, these multinational companies or Caribbean-wide companies, regional companies, have been hacked online. And, they had to shut down almost all of their online systems just to be able to catch themselves and to get back on board and to prevent further destruction or further damage to their companies and their information and all of that sort of stuff. Let me start with you, Mr. Palmer. Tell me firstly, what is the mission and the mandate of iProve?
Well, as you said, the breaches that we're seeing today are becoming worse and worse, and it's completely unacceptable. And actually, one of the foundational problems is the password. People's passwords are reused. They use the same one over and over again. The more complex the password, the more secure it is, but the less usable it is.
Right.
So a better way of authenticating people is with their biometrics. Face biometrics are a great way to authenticate because the device has a camera looking at you while you look at it. And it's also on your ID card, your driver's license or your national ID scheme card. That is the best way of actually proving that you are who you claim to be.
Not even fingerprints?
Fingerprints are good, but you need specialist hardware. Not every device has a fingerprint reader. So if you want to be able to authenticate people on their own personal devices, you need to make use of a sensor that's ubiquitous like a camera.
Right. So you're saying that iProve basically uses your face to be able to be your password, is what you're saying?
Correct. You can use yourself to authenticate rather than your password. When you authenticate, there's factors. There's something you know, something you have, or something you are. Something you know, someone else can know, or you can forget. Something you have can break, or you can lose it, or someone else can have it.
Right.
But something you are is really...
It's who you are for life.
You can't lose it, you can't forget it.
What happens if something were to be damaged on your face? Like, let's say, God forbid, you get into an accident or something like that, and your face gets damaged as a result. Would that hamper?
It's a great question. In today's technology, no. So think of it works similar to how humans recognize humans. So if you were to, God forbid, have an accident, if your friends and family would be able to still recognize you, then the algorithms would as well.
That's very interesting. All right, so then let's jump across to you, Mr. Lett. Tell me about Ignition Innovation.
Right. So Ignition Innovation is a tech startup. We pretty much start here in Trinidad and Tobago, but we're regional. And our focus really is on solving problems. That is the whole purpose of being an entrepreneur, finding a problem to solve.
Right.
And we found that, the Caribbean space is moving into digital transformation, and at the foundation of that is digital identity. So for us, it was very important in figuring out how do we now identify people online. So, for example, you have a lot of government services trying to come online. A lot of financial institutions now offering online loans and all these different things. So how do they verify who is the person behind the screen? And this is one of the things that we look at. So we had extensive research done, and we found iProve, and we have decided to partner with them.
Right.
Because their technology is second to none. Right.
Now, what would you say to somebody like the businesses who still don't see it as important to be able to have a circumstance like this where we have, this digital identification that's safe and secure? People who don't see the importance of that security. I just have a website and I could sell things there because, I link it to Amazon or I link it to eBay or whatever, and they have security, so that should be fine.
One of the things we would have seen, recently, we would have seen a number of companies where there would have been some sort of security breach. So we understand that, security breaches, especially from, as Joe would have said, in terms of very, easy to use passwords or easy to figure out passwords, is something that is a billion-dollar industry. You have a lot of companies that will go down. Then you have a big issue in terms of reputation, because then you don't want it to be known that you were the company responsible for people's information getting out.
Leaked, yeah.
So that is something that is very critical right now in the stage where we have online,
Yeah, everything, online, everything at this point.
much.
Yeah. So, Mr. Palmer, the iProve app Is it a standalone app that we can all download and use and then link it to our things that require a password? How does it work?
So no, so we provide just this one service that's like a component as part of our digital identity, and our focus is linking the physical human to that digital identity. So we are consumed by an SDK and APIs. It's a way of integrating the iProve technology with partners like TrueMeID.
Okay, so Show Me ID is the app aspect of it. So this is iProve is a part of that app.
Yeah. So pretty much what it is that iProve is pretty much, as they say, they're the engine and transmission of your vehicle.
Right.
And they now go inside of powering
the car.
what it is we're doing.
And you have the car.
And we have the car.
Right.
So TrueMeID is going to be known throughout the region as the app that you would just be able to, from a consumer standpoint, just download, and businesses will be able to integrate that into their backend. And then they will be able to link. So the same way, think about when you're signing on to a website and you see, sign in with your Facebook account,
right,
or sign in with your
you can sign in with your Show Me ID account.
You will be able to sign in with TrueMeID.
TrueMeID, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so TrueMeID, we can download it already. It's already available.
So we're still in development.
Right.
What we're doing is just working out, the kinks to make sure that it's where it should be. Again, a lot of technologies are behind this. You have machine learning, you have artificial intelligence, you have biometrics.
And blockchain technology as well.
Blockchain technology is involved in there to ensure that it's totally encrypted. It's always encrypted.
Right.
That is something that is very key, because what is happening is that even on the back end, somebody might worry, okay, so if I'm scanning my ID, which I, will show
because then you have all this information,
then you're wondering, what if the person has all this information on the back end? No, what happens, it's pretty much like any other technology when you hear that it's end-to-end encrypted. So it's a pipeline. So between the information, it's stored on your device, and only when you need to authenticate, then it verifies.
Okay.
So it verifies, but it never uses your information to store it on the company's servers or on the company's devices. You download it on your phone, you store your ID there, and then you just connect to verify, okay, I need to connect to you to prove who I am.
Yeah.
And that's
when can we expect it to launch?
So we expect that, I would say, mid-year, so we're there already. So let's say the end of June into early July, we should be able to finalize launch. Now, the thing about it is that right now, the guys from iProve are here because we have some critical meetings happening. It's something that we're looking at trying to integrate nationally. And looking at what would be the best mechanism to do so. So whether it's through government, whether it's through third-party institutions like a financial institution, that is some of the things that we're working out right now to figure out how quickly we can get it to market.
My simple suggestion would be all of the above.
Correct.
Link
Correct.
everybody, make sure everybody have it right so that we can make sure that we're safe going into this digital world that we live in. Gentlemen, unfortunately, we are out of time, but I want to thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this information with us, and I look forward to seeing iProve being used across the board, especially in TrueMeID and other services. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, that's Joe Palmer, the president of iProve and founder and CEO of Ignition Innovation. Mr. Jess Dunlap joining us on the Now Morning Show this morning to chat about digital safety and security and your ID, how it works for you. We take a quick break and come back with more. Stay tuned.